What's up guys, Sean here, and in this video we're going to do something a little bit different because I'm going to be teaching you guys and dispelling some myths about credit, credit scores, and credit cards. So not too long ago, I did a video response to an Adam Ruins Everything segment about poverty in America, and during the course of me refuting all the misinformation that Adam was putting out, I mentioned something quickly about credit cards, which spawned a lot of weird comments in my comment section that were perpetuating myths about credit that are easily debunked. Now, I was going to make a video right then and there debunking some of the myths that I saw being perpetuated throughout my comments, but then I remembered that this channel isn't really about personal finance, so I decided to let it go. Shortly after that, one of my friends actually hit me up and said, hey, they were having trouble with their credit. And I realized during the course of the conversation with that friend that they also believe a lot of the same myths being put forward in my comment section. So I threw up a poll, asked you guys if you were interested in a video about building credit, how a credit score is important, and debunking some of the myths surrounding credit cards. And you guys overwhelmingly said yes. And on top of that, you left comments with specific questions that I'm planning on answering. Now, I want to be 100% clear up front. This video is not sponsored in any way, shape, or form by any company, credit entity, or whatever you can think of. Any resource that I link for you or recommend to you throughout the course of this video will be something that I use personally in my life, not something that I'm paid to sell you. Also, this is not a lifestyle video. I see a lot of credit card informational videos or credit building informational videos that are weird and culty and almost religious in what they want you to do, and they contain a bunch of stuff related to your personal life that's completely irrelevant to your credit score, why credit is important, and how to build credit. So to be 100% clear again, no sponsors, no weird culty lifestyle advice at all. This is just going to be what's important about a credit score, how to build a credit score, how to check your credit score, and how to apply for credit cards in the least risky way possible. Now, the reason you want to have a good credit score is because your credit score is essentially your financial trustworthiness ranking. It will determine what your interest rates are on loans, whether they be home loans or auto loans, and it will also be used to determine whether or not you are trustworthy enough to have an apartment rented to you. On top of that, in the United States of America, 50% of all employers will check your credit score before hiring you. There are certain jobs, whether they be financial positions of trust or even certain jobs that involve getting security clearances, that you will not be able to get because they don't give security clearances to people with high debts and poor credit scores because they're risk factors for blackmail. So if somebody tells you the myth that your credit score or a credit score in general is not important, it is just that. It is a myth. Now, there are three main credit scores. For the purpose of this video, the differences between the three credit bureaus don't matter so much. I will tell you how to check your credit scores a little later on, but I want to go over the key factors that go into your credit score, and I'll start with the top factors, the high impact factors, the first of which is your payment history. Now, ideally, you want to have your payment history at 100%. You want to show financial institutions that you pay your debts and obligations on time every time. And as you can see with this graphic, your payment percentage history falling just below 97% puts you in the red, so you don't have a lot of room for error in this category. Now, the next high impact portion is your credit utilization. This is the percentage of your credit limit that you carry as a balance from month to month. Ideally, you want to have this below 30%. If you can get this below 9%, that's even better. But 30% should be your absolute maximum because, as you can see with this chart, you start getting into the yellow once you get above 30%. Now, your third factor is derogatory marks. Essentially, what this is if you have anything in collections, anything that's severely past due, this will stay on your credit report until you pay it or for 7 years. Now, in the medium impact category, you have your credit age. Now, this actually varies from credit report to credit report depending on which credit report you're looking at, because some of them track the longest open account that you have on your credit history, and others actually average out your credit age history to give you an average age of credit. Now, regardless, what this means is that the longer you've had a line of credit in your name, the better off you're doing. Now, after that, you have your total accounts. This includes all credit cards, student loans, auto loans, mortgages, Anything that you borrow from a financial institution will appear on your total accounts, whether you've paid it off or you haven't paid it off. The more the better, because in tandem with the other factors, it shows that you have a long history of paying off a variety of loans, and it just improves your overall trustworthiness. And after that, you have another low impact portion, which is your hard inquiries. And this is the number of times that you've asked for credit within the last 2 years. Now, even though hard inquiries are relatively low impact on your credit score, the more you apply for credit within a short period of time, the more damage it will do to your credit report in the short term. And the reason for this is that when you apply for too much credit too soon, it's a bit of a red flag because you might be applying for all this credit so you can run up huge debts and then basically abandon your debts. Now, the first step to building credit is knowing your credit score, which is why I recommend making a free account at creditkarma.com, because Credit Karma gives you for free 2 of your 3 credit scores. And the one that they don't give you, you can get for free at Experian.com. Now, the link to set up your own Credit Karma account will be in the description box of this video. Now, once again, Credit Karma is not a sponsor of this video, and I'm going to prove that to you in a minute by telling you to never apply for a credit card through Credit Karma, because Credit Karma is a free service, which means it makes its money through advertising. So when you see things like this, what I'm putting on your screen on Credit Karma's website saying that you have good approval odds for this credit card, know that this is an advertisement. This is not a true assessment of whether or not you can get that card. This is a good way to get hard inquiries on your report and end up with no credit card. So yeah, don't ever apply for a credit card through a site that is advertising to you to apply for a credit card, because you can end up with all the downsides of a hard inquiry on your credit report without any of the benefits of actually getting the credit line. Now, if you want to apply for a credit card, the absolute best way to do it is to Google the names of whatever financial institution you're interested in with the words pre-approval or pre-qualified or pre-approved. Then fill out their pre-approval form and see without a hard inquiry what credit cards you qualify from that company. Now, I will link in the description box of this video the pre-approval pages of Citi, Chase, Discover, American Express, and whatever else I can think of during the editing process, so you can go directly to the pre-approval pages so you can see what you actually qualify for without getting a hard inquiry. Now, I'm going to say this as clearly as possible. Under no circumstances should you ever apply for a credit card that you have not been pre-approved for, either by mail or by checking through these websites. Oh, and one more thing about the pre-approval process. There's a section in the pre-approval form that asks you to state your income. And if you hover over the question mark to define this question, it says that you are not limited to putting only the income that you personally earn, but you can also put your household income, aka anybody who you have a reasonable expectation will help you pay for the credit card. Little bit of personal advice. Whenever you see something like this on a form, this means that you can kind of fudge the numbers in the upward direction to get yourself better results. I'm not saying that you should put at least $100,000 as the income in this category, but when I was a broke college student and I could only work 20 hours a week for $10 an hour, I may have combined some of the income of people in my households to make the number $100,000. Now, after you've completed the pre-approval form from a bunch of different credit card websites, you should compare the offers, compare the interest rates, compare how long you have a promotional interest rate to see what is the best offer that suits you. And you should apply if you have a ton of offers for no more than 2 of them at a time. 2 hard inquiries will damage your credit report in the short term, but after a couple of months, the increase in your line of credit will offset that tenfold. However, and this is incredibly important, make sure that the 2 cards that you are applying for at a single time are from different companies. Don't try to get 2 offers from the same company at the same time, because you will be rejected when you apply for the second one. And it's important that you refresh all of the pages after you apply for the first one and you've been approved, and fill out the pre-approval forms again to make sure that you still have those offers. Now, if you have no pre-approved credit offers whatsoever due to bad credit history or poor credit history, do not continue the application process and get yourself a hard inquiry. There are a number of ways that you can improve your credit score or create a credit history that can set you up for success to try this process again later. Now, assuming that you just can't pay your debts right away and clear your derogatory marks, or you have no credit history whatsoever, that doesn't mean that you don't have any options. In fact, there's a method that you can use that will actually backdate your history to even before you do this, and thus give you a positive credit score. And that is being put on as an authorized user on a family member or very close friend's existing credit card. If you know someone that's close to you with good credit, whether they be a parent or a sibling, and they are willing to do this for you, you should definitely take them up on that offer, because your credit history age actually gets backdated to the point when they open the credit card account. This is an excellent way to boost the length of your credit history. And they don't even have to give you the credit card if they don't want to trust you with the credit card. This is just something to improve your credit score on paper. And in reality, if they're not that close to you or they're a sibling and you don't want to take advantage, you should probably refuse the physical credit card itself and just take the benefits of that backdated credit history. Now, to be clear, this is not the same thing as you opening a joint account with somebody or having somebody co-sign for you. A general rule of life is that you should never co-sign for anybody, for anything, for any reason whatsoever. Because when you co-sign something with somebody or someone, you are assuming all of the legal risk with them. If that person is unable to pay that bill, you are personally obligated to pay that bill, and your credit will be damaged significantly if they stop paying it. Never co-sign anything unless you want to end up on Judge Judy, because that's literally 98% of the cases that she hears, where one person co-signs for another and the other person turns out to be a deadbeat. Don't do that. Unlike co-signing, becoming an authorized user does not make you financially liable for what the person who added you spends on their credit card. They're liable for what you spend, but again, as we stated before, you can always have them hold on to the credit card because you're just looking for the bump on your credit score, not looking to spend all of their money and drive them into debt. I've used this method to add people in my family as authorized users to either improve their credit history or to build out a credit history for them when they didn't previously have one. However, I hung on to the credit cards because the point of me doing this was not to give them an extra credit card to run up debt on. The point of me doing this was to improve their credit score. Now, if you have no pre-approved offers, you have no credit history, and nobody will add you as an authorized user to backdate you a credit history, then you should consider looking into a retail card. The standards for retail cards are relatively low compared to the standards for other credit card companies. My first credit card was a retail card, and I had no job at the time that I was approved for it. But you should know, while there is a lower barrier to entry for these retail credit cards, for the most part, they only work at the retailer that you got the card from, and they tend to have much higher interest rates than standard credit cards. So don't overspend on a retail card. Don't fall in love with the points at the store that you get the retail card from. Remember, this retail card is not something that you should load up with debt so you can end up paying interest rates for the rest of your life. It is a tool to help you build your credit. It is a tool to show that you can make payments on time. It is a tool to show that you can manage your credit. Remember, that 30% threshold that I showed you earlier in the video is the absolute maximum that you should carry on your credit card at any given time. It is not a goal. You should ideally be charging stuff on your card and paying it off in full at the end of the month. Credit card debt can absolutely get out of hand. I've told this story a number of times, but my first job out of college didn't pay me on time, so I ended up living on my credit cards. And when it became clear that this job had no interest in paying me, I ended up having to quit, and I had to quit with all the debt that I incurred living off my credit card for months after I graduated. It took me a long time to pay down that debt. I had to go from a credit score of 580, which is close to the lowest that you can possibly get, all the way up to excellent, and that took work. Now, while raising your credit score from terrible to excellent sounds like a great success story, believe me, it's much less stressful if you maintain a consistent good credit score and you work your way up to excellent. So while the main takeaway of this video is that you should not be irrationally terrified of credit cards, because again, credit cards are just a tool to help you build credit and something for emergencies, that doesn't mean you should be irresponsible with them. Anyway, that's all I really have for you guys today. I hope this video helps you when you're thinking about credit and how to apply for credit cards. I hope I cleared up some myths and misconceptions about credit and credit cards. But you guys will let me know in the comments down below. If you like this video, then show me by leaving a like. You can subscribe for more content. Follow me on all my social medias. You can support me, one-time donations, Venmo, PayPal, monthly Patreon subscribe star, buy a t-shirt at my Teespring store. This has been me talking about credit scores, and how to build up your credit. Till next time.